Hello, Commanders, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous Return from Beagle Point. Today's topic of discussion will be the pay-to-win video that was released recently by Yemix. But before we get to that, I just want to remind those of you who continue to follow the series that we are still trying to work on that GoFundMe to get my mother-in-law's car replaced. The insurance is not going to be able to take care of it because it was on liability only, and every little bit helps. So if you want to click that link and do a good deed, please feel free to do so. I am in no way receiving any of that money. That's going straight to the GoFundMe for our mother-in-law. And then the other thing, as I said in the last video, I want to welcome all of the new viewers who may be joining the series right now. The purpose of this series is to increase our rank in exobiology, as well as make enough money to buy a fleet carrier and head out into the black with all of our ships. We went all the way out to Beagle Point, and we're on our way back, as the title of the series would suggest. And so yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now as far as the series. For today's video, we're not really going to be flying around very much. I wanted to explore and see if maybe we could find some of those concha or whatever it was that we left behind when we were trying to land down over here. We'll see how that goes as I run headfirst into rocks. I was really kind of hoping that the terrain wouldn't be this bad. Let's see if we can come down this way. So anyways, the topic of today's discussion, as I said, is going to be the new pay-to-win feature, quote-unquote pay-to-win feature, that is being released by the developers of Elite Dangerous. Apparently, it's something that allows you to purchase a pre-built ship, a pre-engineered ship, basically. Oh. I'm a little nervous about this. Which, you know, pretty much is going to allow you to bypass the whole process of having to do all of the grinding and everything for engineering and all of that. In addition to, you know, bypassing some of the other really tedious and annoying things that have typically been a sticking point for a lot of people when it comes to this game. So I'm doing this video now because I'm actually doing this video on the same day that I just did the video, the previous video, because I watched the video and, you know, I wanted to take a little bit of time to kind of think about it and maybe come up with my own thought process on the whole thing. But the reason I bring that up is that I'm going to do my best to make my point as logical and consistent and, you know, reasonable as I can. But I make no promises that it's going to be a perfect argument. It's just going to be my thought process on the whole thing. So the basic argument that Yamix makes is that it is pay to win because you are paying to skip part of the process of, you know, building up your ship and getting it ready to go and having it set up in a way that would be consistent with the amount of work that other people have had to put into it. And a lot of people see that as extremely unfair because they spent hours and hours and hundreds of hours, maybe even thousands of hours, depending on what it is that they were working on. And to have somebody be able to come in now and be able to spend real-world money to basically skip that process is pretty unreasonable. And I can kind of see where that's coming from. I certainly agree. As somebody who put in those kind of hours to get several ships engineered out the way I wanted them, I can certainly understand the frustration, and to some extent I do agree. That said, if you watch any of my other videos, especially my farming simulator videos, you know that convenience and removing wastes of time is something that is extremely important to me. So having the option of being able to do that does not automatically strike me as the worst thing in the world. I've spent... One of the more frustrating things about playing this game for me has been the incessant grind, and realistically, most of the people who have a problem with this pay-to-win thing have been the same ones who have been griping about how the grind sucks and it needs to be fixed and all of this other stuff. And, you know, obviously adding a paid workaround to that isn't the ideal solution, especially for people who have already put that kind of work into ships. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily going to be on the side of, no, if we had to do it, you have to do it. I really don't like that mentality. Just because some people ended up just because some people had to do it the hard way, or some people got screwed over, or whatever. Whoa, I'm having a really hard time controlling this. I'm trying to make sure I don't crash. And I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time. And I also just really don't know what I'm looking for as far as the scanner goes. So I'm just kind of randomly hunting and pecking around trying to find anything that might be out here. I've never believed in the mentality that just because some people had to do it, everybody should have to do it. I really don't like that, because that's the kind of thing that prevents us from moving forward. Whether it's, whether it's a company that has that policy, or a government that has that policy, or whatever it might be. You should never approach things from the standpoint of, some people had to do it, so you have to do it. Everybody has to pay their dues, blah blah blah. I really don't like that mentality. It's the kind of mentality that just keeps everybody locked in place and prevents us from being able to fix things. Now, is the solution that they came up with to deal with the grind something I think is the best way to go? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's probably better ways that they could do it. But, you got to start somewhere. You got to try something. I never saw peach before. I don't think I've ever seen a peach-colored anything. And let's check our radar here, and let me see if it actually shows me anything. Yeah, we don't get any kind of reading on our radar, because it only picks up minerals, I'm pretty sure. So I'm not really sure what to look for then. We'll keep going down through this canyon here, and maybe we'll get lucky and find something. So, ooh, slowly damaging my... It's really annoying that the shields don't do anything to prevent damage. This is why I fly around in my ship, because if I crash in my ship, my shields take the brunt of the damage, and as long as I don't go too fast, I don't lose any hull. But anyways, the theme that I'm trying to get to at this point, I think, is just... Whoa, 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 what are we doing? Okay. The theme that I'm trying to get to at this point is that, like many things in the world, it needs to be a compromise. This pay-to-win thing could be a good solution if it's handled, or if it is going to be handled, or however you want to say it. If handled in the right way, a pay-to-win solution could be a pretty reasonable option, short of a complete redesign of the entire engineering / ship system / whatever it is that you want to say. A compromise is, the best way to think of a compromise is that a compromise is a deal. A fair compromise is a deal where neither side walks away completely satisfied. Everybody gets something, but everybody also has to, give up something or accept something that they didn't necessarily want. And that's the way that, any fair deal should work. So, for them to come out with something like a pay-to-win kind of thing where players can skip the process of having to do all the, crazy, ridiculous grinding that, all of us have had to do over the years. The consequence of that might be something along the lines of, maybe their ship gets marked in a certain way that makes it clear that, they didn't do the work, they paid to get out of it. So that way, if somebody blows them up, at least you get if they blow somebody up, their victim at least gets the consolation of knowing that the person, was a scrub. Or whatever word you want to apply to somebody who, pays to get past the easy stuff. Or even, maybe they're not marked that way, but maybe if you're killed by them, they get you get some kind of notification that lets you know that that's what that was. I don't know. It's just a random idea. Just some kind of, every benefit should have, at least when it comes to, using outside money to affect the game in a direct way. That should definitely come. Like, I don't necessarily think that every convenience should have a drawback. I think a lot of the things that they've gone through, and they say I know I'm stuttering a lot. I'm sorry. Normally I'm a lot more smooth than this, but I'm trying to be very careful about what I say about this subject because I don't want to misspeak, and I'm trying really hard not to do that. So one of the big arguments that I don't like is that conveniences should come with some kind of a penalty. I don't agree with that. A convenience that doesn't affect anybody else should not come with a drawback. So, like an autopilot system that is only helps me and only allows me to travel from one place to another should not be something that comes with a drawback. For example, what's the word I'm looking for? The in-system flying around autopilot. I forget what it's called. The penalty that they put on that you have to drive at 75% throttle to get the benefits of that, I think is an unreasonable penalty for a convenience that doesn't really affect anybody else and just makes it easier for you to fly around the system. I don't think it's unreasonable to just make it to where the thing will just fly you at full speed as fast as is possible for the ship to do, without you having to put an input in. I think that's an unreasonable thing. However, making it so that you can buy a ship and then not have to put in the insane amount of hours that other people have had to do over the years, I think they should offer that as an option, but it should come with some kind of a drawback that makes it clear that you're getting this convenience, but this convenience that you're getting is something that you're getting at the, I don't want to say at the expense of the rest of the player base, but you're not having to put up with the same crap that the rest of the player base had to put up with. So there has to be some kind of a drawback, and that drawback could be just that your ship is identified as a pre-engineered ship or something. Just some kind of thing that is applied to the purchase that makes it so that you are identified that way, or not even just identified that way. I'm sure. Let me know in the comments what kind of compromises you think would be reasonable for something like that. But anyways, I don't really have too much else to say about that topic, and I'm having a really hard time finding anything else here. So let's recall our ship and see if we can hop back into that. I could have sat down and wrote a script, but these videos typically aren't scripted. And if you made it this far through the video, I appreciate you sticking it out. I imagine only the people who regularly watch my videos probably sat through that, because I know I was having a really hard time getting my point across. But I'm trying to make it very clear that it's more along the lines of, I think that options like that should be available. I don't think that they're inherently a bad thing, but it does need to be something that comes with a trade-off, because there are so many people who put so many hours of their life into getting the kinds of ships that they have, and putting in the effort when there was no other option, that it's not really fair for people to be able to come in and pay for a ship and there be no kind of anything that accounts for that. I think I'm all about conveniences. If you watch any of my other videos, you know that I try to find as many shortcuts and conveniences and time savers as I can. So it would be hypocritical of me to say, well, it's not fair. No, I think we should always be finding things like that. But at the same time, we can't ignore the fact that many people put many hours, engineering many ships, and simply putting down some money should not make it to where you can bypass 100% of all of that. So, there needs to be some kind of compromise set up where there is some kind of a drawback associated with making that purchase, even if it's just something as simple as just marking you as, obviously people are going to call it the cheater label, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call it. But anyways, yeah, that's my suggestion. That's my take on the whole pay-to-win thing. Is it pay-to-win? Yeah, I have to agree with the argument that it is a pay-to-win strategy, because it's allowing you to skip the majority of the work that this game is. The majority of the time that all of us spend in this game is buying our ships and then fitting them out the way we want them fit out. So, you can't, bypassing all of that to get to the, all right, now I can do the cool stuff part, that is reasonably to be considered a pay-to-win situation. But at the same time, I'm not against that kind of thing, as long as there's some kind of, you know, you have to sacrifice something. Yeah, you're sacrificing your money, but rich people don't care about that. There has to be some kind of other sacrifice that makes it fair for the entire player base. And, you know, for me, even if it's just something as labeling them as, hey, I bought this ship pre-engineered, at least it's something. Or, you know, let me know in the comments what you think a fair and equitable situation would be outside of just telling me, no, they shouldn't be able to buy it. I mean, I disagree with you. You can put the comment down there. Feel free to do it. It boosts engagement. But my immediate answer to you is I disagree with you. They should be able to buy the ships if the developer wants to offer that and the people are willing to pay the money for that. I'm fine with it so long as there's some kind of a compromise that makes it fair for those of us who have spent so many hours putting all of this effort into our ships. So anyways, that's my take on that. I wanted to make sure I got it out before I forgot about the topic, and while I still had the arguments kind of fresh in my head, as I said at the beginning of the video, I didn't promise that it was going to be succinct and concise and, you know, 100% logically coherent, but those are the thoughts that were in my head, and I wanted to make sure I got those out before they went away, because I'm getting ready to move my trailer here in a day or two, and I'm really focused on that, so I had a feeling I was going to forget. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know we didn't really get that much done, but at least we got some of that content done. Be sure to click the like button if you did, so that the YouTube algorithm will know and send the video out to as many people as possible. If you're not a subscriber, please consider doing so now, so that when the next video comes out, it will show up in your feed and you will be able to watch it as soon as it becomes available. Channel members do get early access to all of my content, so be sure to click that join button, check out the list of options available there, and decide if any of those are right for you. If you are not interested in a membership but would still like to support the channel, you can leave YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. Direct contributions such as these are greatly appreciated and a critical component to helping to turn this channel into a full-time gig, which is the dream. So again, thank you very much for your time. Hope you guys enjoyed the topic. Be sure to come back for the next one, and I'll see you then.